Your daughters and what strong women they are and what they've grown up. But you came from a very strong woman. Tell us what your mother's just completed.
My parents are Holocaust survivors. They lived through the horrors of the Second World War as Polish Jews. They immigrated here in 1948. And my mom, bless her, she's going to be 94 in December, but about 30-odd years ago, she decided to write her memoirs, which she did, and they were charming and wonderful, and actually Becky even wrote a short play based on her memoirs, but basically they just stayed in a drawer somewhere. They never really made it out there. And my dad, unbeknownst to us, and my dad, rest in peace, has been gone now for about 26 years. But just before he died, he also wrote his memoirs out in longhand in Yiddish. This wonderful foundation called the Azrieli Foundation out of Montreal discovered their memoirs through word of mouth and decided that they should publish them in a book. And this book's coming out at the end of this month. Mm-hmm. It's called Joy Runs Deeper, and I've written the intro, and it's my mom's story and my dad's story. And it's a story of survival, and it's a love story, and it's a story about just picking up the pieces after your life has been devastated and just keep on going. And it's a story that I think a lot of people will not only relate to, but really draw great inspiration from. I know I certainly have grown up with those stories, and it's done wonders for me.
Did you learn anything reading it as a whole that you didn't know? Did you gather an insight into them?
Well, my mom's story I had heard many, many times, and my dad too. I mean, fortunately, they were both great storytellers always. A lot of people who lived through the Holocaust didn't want to talk about it anymore. They were so, ravaged and shaken. They just never wanted to talk about it. I remember hiding under the bed as a 5-year-old because I didn't want to hear any more war stories. But I guess it was cathartic for them, and these stories made me who I am today. They certainly shaped my life and the way I see the world. So I knew my mom's story almost like off by heart. My dad's story, though, because these memoirs of his were just translated, I hadn't read them, and I had no idea he was such a daredevil. I mean, I had an idea, I suppose, that he was a pretty spirited guy and that he was tough and brave, but boy, he went through some really amazing stuff. But what really made their story come so alive for me were the descriptions of the quirky, eccentric little characters in their village, and that's what's so charming about it. And I think that's almost why the book is called Joy Runs Deeper. The publishers called it that, not my mom, because again, as I said earlier, it is all about people, and no matter what hell one goes through, if you can just really think back to all the beautiful people, in your life, and the compassion, and that level of joy that people can bring you. And I know for my parents, that's where it's at.
It must be a real blast for her. 94, you said that?
Yeah, I know. And she's sort of just forgotten that she even wrote those memoirs. I was reading her my dad's, and she went, "I'm jealous." I went, "Why?" She goes, "I wish I would have written about my little shtetl in that way." And I said, "But Mom, you did. You wrote your memoirs." She said, "I did." And I started reading them, and of course she remembered every little detail, but boy, yeah, I'm really going to be moved to have her up on stage with me at the end of the month when I read these memoirs at the book launch. I'm going to read some excerpts, and I know it's going to be a very moving experience. I am just so thrilled and feel so blessed that she's lived to see this.
When is that going to be exactly?
October 28th. It's at a theater in Markham. Mm-hmm. So, I can get you maybe a website, the Azrieli Foundation, AZRIELI Foundation, and I think they have a website, and it would give details, but it's going to be a magnificent night.
You're watching What She Said on YouTube.